Alright everyone, JB here, and we're back with another Dragon Ball Legends video on the channel today. Now today, we're going to be going over pretty much a guide for my newer players out there, whether it be for during the festival or pretty much after, because we do have Battle Hour after the festival ends, coming next year in January. So I'm going to go over pretty much how to build teams, what what all the confusion is among new players, and also the different equipments, right? Because we have a couple in the game dealing with, the unique equips, the awakened equips, etc., right? So we're going to talk all about that. As always, if you're new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button and leave a like on the video. It's appreciated. I mean, we're almost at 5K, so I do thank all of you guys. And also Discord, if you're looking for raid buddies or you're just looking to join the Discord just to chat it up, check out the Discord in the description. It'll be down there for you guys if you want to check it out. Now let's go over some basics. Now when you're building a team, I want to look at this from a new player's perspective. So when you're building a team, you don't know what tags are, you don't know what characters to put on your team. So that's pretty much how we're going to dive into this. We're going to start off with that. Now tags are pretty much what helps you build your teams, because if you build your team off of a certain tag, you're pretty much having yourself a solid team. And what I mean by tags, you can click on any character and then you go all the way down to the bottom, it shows you your tags. And the way that you know what tags you're getting buffed with, you go over to ability and you hit on Z ability. Now for Goku and Frieza, they're buffing Universe Rep, Saiyan, and Lineage of Evil. And it also shows you what exactly they're buffing, strike attack and defense, with a little bit extra of blast attack. Now, the way that you do this, I want to go over that. So this is basically a Universe Rep team that I have set up right here. So it's pretty much blast based, because everyone on here is pretty much a range type, but the difference is, I want y'all to keep in mind, some players, or not players, some characters, you can pretty much build them a different type of way. And I say that because if you look at the stats right here, they're not that far apart for Goku and Frieza. They're only about 6K off. So you can build them blast based with the team and the Z abilities and pretty much give them strike equipment. Now when you're building your team, besides the top three, the bench is pretty important, because I've seen a lot of people build a solid top three that you're going to use in most of your matches, and then the bench doesn't really buff them. So you're missing out on 3 whole Z abilities, which can very much hurt you. So when you come down to Z abilities on the bench, now like I said, Goku and Frieza are in the leader slot. These guys are a range type alongside with 17. So what does that mean? You want to build them with blast Z abilities. And what I mean by that, look at Frieza right here. He's giving us both strike and blast attack and an additional defense. You want to build him blast based. Same thing with Goku over here. He is giving us blast attack and defense. And also another thing I want to talk about is Zenkais. I don't want to just throw everything all out there, but I'm going to talk about that in a second, so that way it's step by step for y'all. So when you're building your your bench, the only person that isn't buffing us with blast attack is Bergamo. He is giving us health. Health is somewhat more of an important factor in this game, but it's not the most important thing, right? So you want to build a team like that. Now say example, you want to build a strike based team, right? Let's look at Sunfam. You can build a strike based team off of that. Let's take away these guys right here. Now we can keep Goku and Frieza in the leader slot. The reason for that is because if you look at the leader slot, you're gonna get well, you have to add people first, but you're gonna get all the buffs no matter what tag you are. Like we can put, say for example, let's look over here. Go off of this. We can put Janemba in the leader slot. and literally throw Goku and Frieza right there, and then go back to Sun Fam. Because the way that Leader Slot works, you're getting all the Z abilities. It doesn't matter what team you put them on, you're literally getting all the Z abilities. Now say for example, we're going to put that Goku that he buffs up purple and Saiyan, and then looking at strike orientated units, let's just use Beast Gohan for an example. So that's a strike based team. So your bench, you want it to be built around strike orientated. So let's throw like Bird Crew right there, and then Pan. And you're wondering why you're throwing Pan. You know, she's GT. Well, she does buff Sun Fam strike attack, and she also buffs Blue and Sun Fam. So Beast Gohan would be getting a Zenkai ability. Same thing with this Goku. You know, I don't have him fully built on his Zenkai, but he does buff purple and Saiyan. And like I mentioned, Zenkais are pretty much a second Z ability. You got the Z ability, and there's pretty much a second Z ability because you're getting a certain buff to both striking blast attack and both defenses. So do keep that in mind when you're building a team. Not every team has to be built based off of Zenkais, but like I said, they're basically a second Z ability. And another thing I want to talk about, we're going to move on, is these new Legends Z ability. So this is basically like a third Z ability on top of what I just mentioned with the Zenkai abilities. The only condition is you have to bring these characters in battle for this to take effect. I believe the max is 10% once you get them to 14 stars or 7 red stars. So this is what they're looking at. If you get them to 7 stars, you're getting 7% across the board. So therefore, if I bring both Beast Gohan and Goku and Frieza, you're going to be getting an additional 14% to everything on top of this of what their Z ability is. And like I mentioned, same thing with the Zenkai ability. You're basically getting 2 Z abilities. You have this right here for strike attack, and you have that, but it is only specific for that character. So it says Blue and Sun Fam, so that'll be for Beast Gohan. So do keep that in mind. Now before we move on to equipments, I do also want to throw one more thing in there that I didn't really explain leader slot. So you go down here, right? It should be, yep, right here. So like I was mentioning, it says select the leader as a battle member, and this effect will activate. And you see he is Cyrus from the movies, but if you look up here, he's not a universe rep or Saiyan, but he still didn't get that because he's in the leader slot. So you pretty much can put whoever you want in the leader slot, and they would get those Z abilities. That's how team building has pretty much advanced recently. I believe this got introduced last year or this past year, so it has been different, you know, compared to the earlier years of the game. Now we're gonna look at let's go ahead and bring back out our team. I'm gonna use let's see, I believe, actually no, we can use the same team we're using right now. Actually, let's go back. Alright, cool. So equipments. Now, before we hop on the equipment page, now how these work, right? So you have 2 different types of equipments. There is base equipments, and then there's equipments that we call pure equips. Now that is probably going to be the biggest difference of understanding when you're joining and you're using equipments. Now base equipments, how these work. Now you see how it says base strike attack, base strike defense. What that is doing is, for Goku and Frieza, that is doing nothing but adding that certain percentage to their stats. So say their stats is at 251, it's only adding that to it. So it's adding a certain percentage of that to their stats. It works the same way with the Z abilities. As you look at the Z abilities right here, it says 26%. Everything is percentage. So all this is just added. And the difference between that and a pure equip, if you look over here, now if you see down here where it says base strike attack, and then you see it says strike attack, that is the difference that you're going to see between those two. When it says just strike attack, that means it's a pure equip, or it has a pure effect towards whatever it's buffing. So pretty much when it comes down to pure equips, the difference is it's pretty much multiplying it. It's adding that to the overall just damage or whatever it's buffing. It's not just adding it to the stats. So the difference is between those is with base you're getting, you know, a certain percentage added to it, and then with pure you're getting that added to the overall damage to the strike attack. So therefore that's the biggest difference between those. And a lot of people like, what I do is the easiest way that you can keep it balanced, because you want to have a certain amount of base before you throw a whole bunch of just pure equips. You want to have one pure equip, and I would say 2 base, you know, equipped. So that's kind of how it works. And then we're gonna go over here to the equipment page. Now this is where it kind of gets a little tough for some people understanding different equips. Now we have different equips. We have gold and unique equips. Those are going to be the main 2 equips you want to grind for certain teams. And also how they work. I want to mention this real quick, because not every equip is just going to go to any character. So you see how it has equipped conditions. A lot of equipment have this. It's only for melee type characters, meaning if I want to put this equip on them, I can't. You know why? Because they're a range type. They have to be a melee unit to use that equip. So do keep that in mind as well. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat. You know, it happens, right? So looking at different equips, like I mentioned, you have the gold equips and the unique equips. Both of these are the most, you know, used equips. And you're probably wondering, why does this equip look like this, and then why does this one look like this with the border around it? So these are called awakened equips. So some regular equipment, you can pretty much awaken them to get better stats and different effects. So how this works, right? You can always tap on this. This is where you're always going to get the awakening equips. So you have to do this event right here and then go to the shop and get that from there. And you also need certain materials. So I feel like for a lot of new players, this wouldn't be just a must do, because most of the equipment you can get them from the shop, as I'm going to show you in a minute, and from the event. And you need certain materials, and if you don't know where to get them, you can get them from the shop. It's in the fragment exchange shop. And you can also get them from here, which is why I'm saying you have to grind an event. So let's go back over here. Now that we know what type of equipments that we want to grind for most of our units, you have the gold and then unique equips. Now looking at re-upgrading that equipment, right? Alright guys, I do apologize for the weird cut. Had to get some water. As you can see, I am a little bit sick, so I had to take a little, just, you know, a 5-minute break. But as I was about to mention, we're gonna hop over to re-upgrading slots. So when you're doing equipment, right? Now let's take, for example, let's say this equip right here. Now you see how that, you know, the color of the slots, you want to get either a gold or a red slot in this first slot, because what that guarantees you is you can pretty much upgrade the equipment up to Z, Z+, whichever one's comfortable for you. Even the S. Some S equips are solid. So you can only re-upgrade the bottom 2 slots. And what this requires is slot removers, you know, we call them erasers. And we have this function where you can do this. Always press stop on red, because that's the highest you can go. So you always gonna need a whole bunch of zenny and materials and stuff. And I will show you guys an example. Maybe we can find one with like a green slot down there, because a lot of them, these are like Z+. So we're gonna look and take, let's say this one, right? Now you can also look right here. This goes up to 22%, but it's on gold slot, meaning it still can go up to red. Same thing for this one. This was on green, but we still got the Z because, you know, we got that first red, you know, that first slot red, so it made the chances go up. Now you can also do this, which I don't recommend. This is basically you getting a certain percentage on a guaranteed, and it's only 0.85, but you're using 50 erasers, where you can just pretty much just upgrade it. You know, it's way easier that way in my opinion. Well, do keep in mind when you're doing these re-upgrades or just upgrading equipment, you're gonna need a lot of zenny. So make sure you guys are going to the event, grinding the zenny. On the weekends is the best time, because we have a special event that gives gold bars. It gives you additional zenny, etc, etc, right? Now that we cleared pretty much how the re-upgrade process works, I'm going to show you guys where you can mainly get your equipment. Now hop over to events. We'll go over here to upgrade tab. Now, when you see right here where it says Ultimate Equipment Collection, this is for the unique equipment. So those are like pretty much the highest rarity that we have in the game. And also these have like certain conditions for certain tags. And then there's also certain ones, if we go down here, like this Piccolo one, there's also personal, like just only for that character. Because if you look down here, it says it right here. It's only for that character. It's their personal equipment. So, and a lot of these are pretty busted equipments. But do keep in mind, you're going to need a lot of Zenny to upgrade them, and also a lot of energy, because you have to pretty much, you know, re-auto on the event to get those gold or red slots. Because if you get a green slot, I mean, for a newer player, you can, but you want it to be a solid green slot at least, right? Because you want those, just the bottom two slots matter just as much as that first slot, because the first slot, you want to get at least a gold. You don't have to shoot for the stars and get a red slot. That's just what a lot of people do. Now you can also get it from the event right here, but there's also a lot of newer equipment that isn't in the event, so I don't recommend this, but for a newer player, I do. So if you hop over to this shop, you're going to be able to go down here. This is where you get majority of the equipment. There's the equipment metal shop, and where you get these from, pretty much just completing challenges throughout events, story mode, co-op. They give you these at random where you complete those. And if you look down here, it has a lot. There's a lot. So this is where you get majority of the equipment. And then there's also one more shop I want to mention, and it's going to be the Zenkai Rush shop. Yep. So this one as well, you can get equipment from here. And like I was mentioning, you can also see, the Awakened. So these cost 2,000 per, just one. So when you get to the, that time when you start grinding it, you have good characters, because you just need solid characters just to grind the event. You don't need the most busted characters, but it pretty much has all these Awakened ones like I was mentioning. And it also has, I think it's at the bottom. We're going to check down here. And yeah, these are for like the materials. So I had to make sure, because I was a little hesitant thinking about it. But yeah, these have the materials that you need to do the awakening process for the equipment. And yeah, so that's pretty much everything to know. Like I mentioned, when it comes to equipment, the easiest way to get yourself a good equipment is to keep re-rolling that equipment when you're doing it. And get a gold or a red slot, right? And then once you're done with that, you want to go over here, like I mentioned, and upgrade it. And sometimes, you might not have a lot of slot removers, which is what I need to mention over here. We have the raid currently going on right now, so therefore this is the best time. So, you can get it from the raid shop, because it's actually the easiest way to go over here. You're able to get up to, I think, 1,000, I believe. Yeah, so this one right here. But in total, you're able to get up to 999, which is technically 1,000. That is the limit now. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, crystals, Z power, and also these. I might make a separate video on this for new players, but I already made kind of a video, but that was like when it first came out. So I might make a, a re-updated video. But that's pretty much how you do it. How you do your teams, how you do your equipment, how you set up your teams, like I mentioned. And anything that you have a question about, leave a comment down below in the section. Or maybe somebody else, I'll typically respond on most of my videos. But if I don't, maybe somebody else will help you out in the comment section. But as always, it's your boy JB. I'm out.